Hello, I am Regdrin, and with me is Stone of Triumph.
You can't prove that.
Well then, what would you like me to call you?
Just do whatever.
Well, I count 4 scopes on that gun.
Yep.
And it will be fairly obvious that none of them will ever be used.
Uh-huh. Okay, so this is Total Carnage, a 1992 game by Midway.
Yes. This is when Midway feared only one thing, which is someone completing a game in less than $5.
Indeedy. So basically most of Midway's history.
Yes, well, you'll see exactly how fearless they are as the game progresses.
This game can hold a maximum of 30 credits, unlike the 9 of other games.
30 will not be enough, but still, it's a nice thought.
Uh-huh.
BNN.
Candy Blitzer. Oh my goodness.
How slick of you.
Yeah, it's Iraq.
There's no question whatsoever.
Send in the Doomsday Squad.
Okay, so the Doomsday Squad consists of 2 people, Captain Carnage and Major Mayhem.
Jeez, Player 2 outranks Player 1 by so much.
Only by 1. Okay, so this is one of Midway's twin-stick shooters.
Yes, and unlike many of their games, they're actually pretty good about giving hints about how the game works.
Mm-hmm.
Keys.
Hold on, this may still be attract mode.
No, it is definitely not. Attract mode doesn't do the whole password thing.
Indeed.
Now this is a password that you get from the very first side room, and it doesn't take you to the side room.
It does not.
It takes you to a rather bad place.
So why are we doing this?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, we're showing off the electric chair. I hope you're good at button mashing.
I am not. Not good enough for this game, anyway.
Well, if you lose all your lives and have to continue. Also, this happens.
Yep.
If you win, though...
You get maximum bombs.
Hooray.
So, Total Carnage was directed by 2 people. Mike Trumbull, who was the creative and programming mind behind Smash TV, and Eugene Jarvis, who was one of Midway's own old hands and the creator of Robotron 2084.
Well, and it turns out I'm not good at perceiving enemy shots, which is kind of strange considering that I often play bullet hell games.
And I got punched by guys on fire.
Yeah, that's a good indication of the kind of game this is, by the way, when you destroy a tank and a bunch of guys on fire pop out.
Yes. Yes.
Now those enemies are just standing there and not really doing much. Don't get used to that.
Yep. So, yeah. However, Total Carnage is so well below its actual target, so Midway abandoned further twin-stick shooters. Trumbull was put on a different project, NBA Jam.
Oh, gee, I wonder how that one went.
I don't know. Guess it might have done well.
Ah.
Well, tank.
Yeah. This game, yeah, it's not so friendly.
It's a Midway game. It exists to eat your quarters.
Also, we haven't really warmed up to the gameplay yet.
Even though we practiced.
Yeah. Well, you'll see the result of warming up in a little while. About keys. So, regarding the rules for finding hidden keys, if you can walk behind it and it hides your character, there are probably keys in there.
Yep.
And it's important to do this throughout the entire game because there's not much room for error if you want to get enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of several Jeep sequences. Now, this is the first instance where your weapon is locked, and it means a few things. First of all, it changes the drop pool.
Yep.
So that weapons do not show up, which makes more room for other things.
Like keys.
Like keys, and extra lives, and bombs.
And boots.
All of these things will show up much more often than they would outside of these sequences, which makes them very useful for accumulating useful things.
Uh-huh.
Oh, about the double your score.
Yes.
Yeah, that's technically not a thing. I think it was just talking about the first time you encountered this room, you will probably have twice as many points by the time the sequence is over.
Uh-huh. There are a few lies like that in this game.
Mm-hmm. There are several lies. Oh, and the room says you should have 2 players here. There are actually many little game mechanics that do not show up unless you have 2 players. It's pretty clear that the game was designed for this. It makes survival easier in some ways and harder than in others.
Yes. As a small note, Robotron 2084 was not actually the first twin-stick shooter. That was actually Space Dungeon by Taito, who is never a second to do anything when it comes to arcades.
Yeah. I have a couple of Taito games in mind for the future, in fact.
Which ones were you thinking of?
Dead Connection, for one.
Uh-huh.
And the other is a secret.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. But yeah, Taito is also no stranger to ridiculous things in arcade machines, as we've demonstrated with Growl.
Uh-huh.
Save me.
Yes.
Oh, the warp code has a question mark. Now, the password...
it only has letters, doesn't it?
Yep, it only has letters. So you have to kinda guess. And there's a problem with guessing, which is if you guess a password wrong...
You die?
Yes, the portal explodes and sets you on fire, and you can't use it again for that playthrough.
Perfect. Makes me so glad that there are actually home versions of this game.
One of these things took out both of us at once. I'm kind of ashamed.
Look, he wants to earn his paycheck from the General, even though he's a mindless berserk mutant.
Oh well. Berserk mutants are people too. Oh,
yeah. See also Fallout.
Those guys with flamethrowers, Mr. Butane. They take a ridiculous amount of punishment, considering the numbers in which they can sometimes show up. However, they die instantly to bombs.
Yeah, Mr. Butane is basically the equivalent of the suicide bombers from Smash TV.
Now, the reason we died there is that there was an item that you have to pick up or it kills you, except the tank kind of rolled over it and stopped us from picking it up.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and as you might have seen on the right, the game loves to put landmines under point items.
Yep. That includes journalists.
Yep, that includes journalists. How these... Oh, by the way, I died to one of the many unpleasant aspects of this game, which is if you go long enough for using a continue, the safety that you usually get from dropping a bomb goes away. You saw the red circle around player 2 when he dropped a bomb?
Uh-huh.
When you survive long enough, that doesn't happen. That circle is invulnerability.
Yeah. rank penalties, not just for shmups anymore.
Midway does that sort of thing a lot. For example, in Arcade Gauntlet, also by Midway, and I'm talking about the remake,
Yeah.
Midway discovered that if you play well enough, you can get through the game without buying more health.
Yes.
I think the sound of glass shattering really sells his temper tantrums.
The General, by the way, is voiced by Ed Boon.
Yes. But as I was saying, Midway found out, and in later versions of the game, they changed it so that if you go long enough without buying health, your health will automatically drain faster.
Yep.
You will lose 2 per tick, and then 3 per tick.
Yeah, Midway knew what it was about.
Yeah, but in an, I don't know, in a cartoon villainy kind of way.
I'm going to have to look up what the penalties for Mortal Kombat were.
Oh, yes. Well, Mortal Kombat is also well known for its single-player shenanigans, so I'm sure you will have some interesting things to say. There is one that I know about off the top of my head, though, which is... once you got past the first couple of enemies, the opponents were completely unthrowable. They would throw you instead, even if they were stunned from either a move or being in finish him mode. That's right. If you try to throw a character who you've defeated and the game says finish him, you will get thrown instead, and this can defeat you. You will lose if that happens.
Yeah.
Thanks, Midway.
Yeah, someone put it. You know, with Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat actually became a fighting game.
Oh, another function of rank is that the missiles that occasionally come from the side of the screen in certain sequences, the ones that happen when the game says, "Excuse me," if you've gone on for too long without using a continue, the missiles have ridiculous durability.
But they can always be instantly destroyed by bombs.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of which, sometimes Jeeps just... I stepped in the goo, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Well, occasionally Jeeps will just not die regardless of what you do to them.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's intentional or something weird with their hit detection, but it will happen sometimes. I suspect that it's accidental because sometimes it will happen to parked Jeeps that you're supposed to get rid of anyway.
Uh-huh. Yeah. One of my favorite comments about Mortal Kombat, though, had to do with Mortal Kombat Armageddon from the Super Best Friends, where Matt said, well, hey, remember Mortal Kombat Armageddon saved the fighting game scene in the West? And Pat's response was, well, I say the ends don't justify the means.
Now, I think it's fair to say that the weapons in this game are not balanced with each other.
They are not.
The gas thrower, or perhaps super flamethrower if we want to call it that, is pretty clearly the best weapon in the game. After that, I think it's roughly a tie between the rocket launcher and the flamethrower.
Uh-huh.
And, oh yeah, you went and picked up the score items. Why did you do that?
Because I have unlimited money.
The worst pickup is probably what I call the Nerf gun. The one that fires those blue balls in a straight line.
Yes.
And the reason for that is, it's okay if you're fighting a lot of enemies that just die in one hit, which, to be fair, happens quite a lot in this game.
It is Super Smash TV, basically.
However, if you're fighting anything that takes more punishment than that, those shots actually deal less damage than your normal gun.
You found a secret bonus point.
Yeah, well, that secret bonus is actually explained in the map at the start of the second level, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I think this is one of the very few non-SNK arcade games that gives you a tutorial.
Yeah.
5-0. Help me. 5-0.
Now, that reminds me. I need to work out whether... No, wait, it only does that with arcade games.
Oh?
I was thinking about the more recent King of Fighters games.
Well, yeah, of course it only does it with the arcade games because, there's most controllers don't have an A, B, C, and D button anymore.
Well, now, we should talk about some of the other functions of bombs. They will destroy things that cannot be removed by other means.
Yes, by placing a bomb next to certain things, it will call in a guided missile strike.
That's one part. The other thing is that they can destroy landmines and barrels, which your normal guns can't affect very much.
Yes, because our heroes don't know how to aim down.
Yep. Well, I don't think it's too surprising that these characters are not very smart. But, by the way, this game loves its flying limbs.
Of course it does. This is post-Mortal Kombat Midway.
Yeah,
We already saw that with Strike Force.
although even Smash TV has some of that.
Oh, obviously.
Save me.
Oh, by the way, this game is in continuity with Smash TV.
Of course it is. We will see more evidence of this later. Now, the reason that we go into all of these side rooms is that there are often keys in there, and as I said,
We need all of the keys.
we need every last one of the keys. Oh boy. Now this is something that gave me a lot of trouble when I tried getting through here on single player.
Why you would ever do that, I would never know.
Well, the thing is, there is someone who has defeated this game on 1 credit.
Okay.
I don't think I have the patience to attempt this myself, not when I have so many other games to record.
Like XCOM.
Like XCOM, yes. I will get to the next video soon, I promise. Well, this is a bit of a change, isn't it?
Yeah.
These guys don't use their flamethrowers, and the white ones are there just to scare you.
Yeah.
Although, there are a lot of them, so maybe your
And
normal...
there's a Jeep.
Yep. So maybe a normal gun would get overwhelmed here. Yeah, so one of the things that makes double-player survival harder is that you often are without a special weapon, whereas with one player, you can often stay well armed.
Beep beep.
Now, we've been playing for a little while, and we don't have a huge amount of keys yet, but that's okay, because the game gives more keys as it progresses. Oh, and like Smash TV, the weapons here are ammo-based. Unlike Smash TV, it doesn't show you how much ammo you have left.
Well, obviously, they aren't tracking it in the studio.
Although I would not be surprised if this was being broadcasted on TV. Ow. You see, that's one of the ridiculously durable missiles I was talking about.
Yeah. And we will actually encounter their launchers later. These don't come from nowhere.
Yeah. Well, they effectively come from nowhere, much like most of the other things in this game. But yeah.
Oh, we're going to face the first of 2 bosses.
Yeah. Wow, he jumped on you while you were looking at the hints.
Yep. Midway.
Over here.
This is the correct order for destroying parts, by the way. If you don't do that, it will take much longer to kill.
Yeah, another thing is that, like most Midway action games, Total Carnage is pretty long for an arcade game.
It is extremely long. But we'll get more into that later.
Besides, the people can probably already see from the timer.
Yeah. Now, unlike some games I've played, it's pretty clear that Midway did not want to even try to make these bullet patterns survivable.
Yep.
And it's also a fairly common trait for Midway to make bosses that are huge and also move around pretty quickly.
Indeed.
Oh, and Orcus will eventually stop firing.
Well, yeah, he does eventually run out of ammo, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like there's any way for him to reload, except maybe surgery.
No, the drums are right below the, right behind the barrel.
Oh yeah, alright, okay, good call. And yes, whenever a piece is removed, Orcus will say something like, "My arm!" or other things as we advance.
Yeah.
Also, Orcus likes to jump around above the player's shots sometimes.
Which is to say, all of the time.
Which is rather annoying when you have a good weapon that you don't want to waste. Not like the Nerf gun.
Yeah, you can waste that all you want. Well, at least this boss can be hurt by normal bullets, unlike some twin-stick Midway bosses.
I think that's really just Mutoid Man and his clone. All the others are technically damageable by normal shots, although it's probably not ideal. It is definitely not ideal.
This boss fight is not ideal.
Oh, savage. Oh, and boss fights also change the drop pool. Those rapid-fire arcing grenade launchers...
They only show up in boss fights.
Only ever. And they're very handy for hitting sections that are tough to reach with normal guns. Like the eyes, for example. Dropping bombs under them is also good for that. Oh, and I had the weapon I needed too. Ouch.
Too bad.
Too bad.
There we go.
Hooray. That did it. And that's another traditional Midway thing, which is when a body part is destroyed, dozens of copies of it fly off.
Yep. And there goes the other one. Now let's take care of that.
His second head. His upper head, specifically. Unfortunately, the head was destroyed off-screen, so we don't get the proper destruction animation. But still, we do get to hear the "my head." Whew. I should also mention that his attack pattern after losing his gun arms is a lot more predictable, even if we do still die to it sometimes.
Okay. Now there's only one part left.
Yep, we've opened him up.
That doesn't mean he still can't kill you, though.
Oh, of course not. What kind of game do you think this is?
A fair Namco game?
Of course not.
This ain't Splatterhouse, people.
Yeah. He takes this quite a bit of punishment even after all that, of course.
Got him.
This is... They must have had fun animating all of this. Well, now we can just take a breather and relax, because for once, there's nothing to kill us around here.
Indeed. Well...
Thanks, game.
Yeah, note that the country's flag is a biohazard symbol.
Subtle they aren't.
Midway.
Actually, I think that's one of their strengths. Also, geez, how did you find that much? Oh, right, you were stepping on mines to get it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, these little bonuses at the end only appear in 2-player mode.
Yep.
Speaking of which... this game has a lot of second place thought text.
Yeah, it draws from an absolutely enormous pool.
We've played through this several times and we still haven't seen all of it.
Yeah, it reminds me of something Ed Boon very recently said, you know, there are secrets in Mortal Kombat 2 that people haven't found yet, and so people actually dived into the code and he was right. Also, all Smash TV players should quit now and run away.
Yes, that's what really sold me on this game back in the arcades.
Yes.
Although I played it very sparingly because I knew what
kind of game it was.
Yes, I knew exactly what kind of game it was.
Why play this when you could play Soul Edge? You know, an actually fair arcade fighting game.
Yep. Well, and the controls were designed for the human hand, unlike the Mortal Kombat arcade machines.
Okay, so we're in another weapon lock area.
It's a pretty good weapon, though. I have good things to say about 3-way.
It's better for the big stuff, so I'm glad they give it to us here.
Yeah. Something like a rocket launcher would be better, but still.
Also, Player 1 here keeps on pushing the lower tanks onto me, thus killing me with them.
Well, it's not like it's a secret as to where those things are going to go.
Well, I have to stay down here to get keys and get punched by firemen.
Well, also, those tanks go down much quicker if you aim for their turrets at the start. It matters where you shoot them. It doesn't matter where you shoot the missile trucks, though.
Yep. Those aren't Scuds, those are Frog 7s.
I'm glad you know your
strategic missiles.
Strategic missiles. It makes me feel so much safer.
No, I don't subscribe to Strategic Missile Monthly.
Well, this is also featured in Attract mode, and Attract mode has the characters in permanent invulnerability.
Because they know what would happen if they weren't.
All vehicles destroyed.
Yep.
Let it not be said that... Oh, jeez, I'm a loser. Anyway. Also something that never happens in single-player mode. Anyway. Let it never be said that only poorly translated games misspell things. Oh, and we have a couple of those launchers that you were talking about.
Yep.
They are, of course, completely indestructible.
Because why not?
Now, if this game were remade for modern politics, it would later turn out that they were actually only making baby milk.
You know what? I can actually live with that.
Of course, you would still fight lots of these things, but yeah, they were just making baby milk.
Total Carnage, the line. Yeah, there's a reason that we're doing the commentary in post.
Yeah, when we were playing the game, we were too busy just pointing out all the keys and concentrating on the game.
Concentrating on not dying, futile as it sounds.
Dying as few times as is reasonable.
Yeah, I think that we should co-op a game that's not meant to eat all of our quarters.
But I love co-oping ridiculous arcade games. Actually, Dead Connection might be reasonable in that way.
Well, obviously, it's not a Midway game.
Yeah, I actually like the idea of a sort of reverse power-up, something that you have to pick up because if you don't, it will kill you.
Well, actually, I was thinking of the anti-power-ups from Phalanx.
Oh, the ones that grow spikes and try to kill you?
Yes.
Now, what that means is we're going to have to deal with some stuff before we encounter another Jeep sequence, which often has good things to pick up.
Like keys.
Like keys.
Which are the only things we care about.
Well, sometimes we care about extra lives.
Sometimes we care about guns.
Yeah, now these slime monsters are pretty annoying because while they are forming on the ground, they will block anything that you fire.
Exactly. They're only vulnerable after they finish spawning.
And sometimes they will kind of protect other enemies that you are trying to shoot at.
They're also vulnerable to bombs.
Well, most things are.
Nuclear bombs, I mean.
Ah, well.
Yeah, the smart bombs.
Smart bombs, okay. Although those don't always work.
Yes, sometimes those are duds in this game.
And the game will make fun of you.
Were there any duds in Smash TV?
Nope.
Okay.
They also showed up a lot less frequently in Smash TV.
Okay.
Hooray!
All Jeep sequences are the same.
The game is lying to you at this point.
Of course it's lying. This game is all about lying.
Well, and this, I believe, is the start of a streak where I go a pretty decent amount of time without using a continue. And not all of it is because I'm stealing all the extra lives, I swear.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Really.
Oh, come on. You know that this game can easily eat lives faster than you get them.
Uh-huh.
The strategy that I use to mostly survive this sequence is to move into a lane right after I destroy a Jeep, which puts them out of sequence pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Keys.
Hooray. By the way, you don't instantly die if you bump into it. The game has to pretty much be convinced that you are being forced to overlap with one of the Jeeps before it'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that running away from a Jeep is a pretty good way to survive it until you can kill it.
Perfect.
Even if you bump into it a couple of times. Oh, another function of those screen-killing bombs is to get people who want to just hide in one of the corners.
Yep. Hey, 63 keys. Wait, 83? Oh, okay, that's much better.
That is much better. I don't know if we could succeed if we had 63 keys at this point. I think it might be possible to 1cc this game, well, technically 2cc it with 2 players, if they have immaculate teamwork.
We do not.
We do not. That would take a lot more practice than we want to put into this game. Now this is the first of a couple of jet sequences which have a couple of oddities of their own. First of all, it's the only place where jetpack power-ups can show up.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. They don't show up very often. The other thing is that it alters the way that bombs work, as you might have just seen with the one I planted. Which specifically...
They can sometimes take a very long time to explode.
Yes, in these sequences, The bombs that you drop will sometimes take forever to go off, which is bad considering that you probably drop them to help avoid mines.
Haha. Midway.
Also, all these explosions and jets being set on fire make it harder to see the mines.
No, maybe we should do Dead Connection next.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Oh, those eggs. They aren't kidding when they say egg bonus. They hatch into spiders, which you can kill. However, the spiders give you 10 points each.
And the eggs give you a lot more than that.
Yes.
Whoops.
That was my whoops, but we only missed out on a few eggs. You should not care about score in this game. Except, of course, to win those little comparisons at the end, because those are funny.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I think the drop pool here might be adjusted to help you fight the Mr. Butanes better, because they're pretty consistently powerful weapons.
Yep.
Like the flamethrower, the rocket launcher. Also, that was a good call on that mine. Very well placed.
It needed to be done. Spider-Mans!
Yes. Rooms like this are definitely a callback to the days of Smash TV.
Or Robotron 2084.
Yeah, well, in Robotron, they don't come in from the sides of the room. So
Or Space Dungeon.
maybe. I haven't tried Space Dungeon. Have you?
No, because I tend not to, I don't usually play arcade games made in 1981.
Oh, did you look at any footage of it?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's actually a, it's not gated rooms like in Smash TV.
Oh?
It's actually a dungeon crawl.
Okay. Interesting. And how thick is it with enemies?
Well, they aren't a huge amount of enemies, but they tend to be both durable and large, and if they are not large, they are fast.
Ah, very interesting. I'll definitely have to take a look at it myself. Also, I deserve that. Right, deep breath.
Help! Help! Help!
My hero.
Help! Help!
Grab the hostages.
Help!
Grab the bombs. I'm kind of surprised that these guys know how to disarm such huge, complicated-looking bombs.
Well, maybe they're like the bomb in Papers, Please.
Also, you obviously can't disarm that one.
Mm-hmm.
My hero.
Thank you!
Yeah, those warehouses are extremely important for keys.
Yep.
Especially because, and this accounts for most places that have keys, when you go to one of these rooms and then come back, all of the keys will be restocked, so you can go pick them up again.
Mm-hmm.
Superhero games are for dogs? What? Also, easy free man, right.
Actually, I think
Yeah?
I think that terrible Superman arcade game that came out about now.
Oh! That could be it.
If not now, not too far earlier.
Well,
Save me.
yeah, palm trees are also a good place to find hidden keys.
Also, I think the X-Men arcade game was out around now, too.
But that was a good game. Although it did have its problems, let's not ignore that.
Help me.
Actually, this game has a lot... I'm sorry, this part of the game has a lot of those side rooms.
Beep, beep.
Oh yeah, it will send surprise jeeps a lot
From any and all openings.
Yes. Also, they will kill enemies as they drive past, though. Which does mean that you don't get the points, but hey, survival.
Normal enemies don't give that many points anyway. Yeah, score is not important because you can't get extra lives through score.
And score is retained after it continues, so it really doesn't judge player skill very well.
Yeah, plus there's no point of shame in Midway games, unlike in Capcom games.
Yep. Actually, a lot of arcade games have the point of shame.
Mm-hmm.
Just not the Midway ones.
Yep.
They do not want to discourage you from using continues. So, missile strikes. They do cost a bomb. However, they also tend to destroy all enemies on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, well, anything that can be killed by instant death, anyway.
Anything that can be killed by bullets.
Well,
By one bullet.
Yeah. I think it can also deal with a couple other things, but that's a minor detail.
Hey, I got rid of the mine for you.
Thanks! Now, you don't... the game is actually a little easier if you don't kill those spiders, but then you don't get the egg bonuses.
And then you don't get killed trying to get the egg bonuses.
Thanks, Midway. Well, those sure are spiders. I should remind everyone that this game is less repetitive than Smash TV. Although... Go ahead.
Oh, you go first.
Although that is kind of a low bar.
Smash TV. Room, then room, then room.
It did have a pretty interesting sense of humor, and the setting was creative.
Well, actually it was kind of stolen from The Running Man, but...
Well, yeah, but I still like how it was implemented. Now this is the unavoidable electric chair scene. There's sometimes a random one when you go into any side room.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't encounter it in this game, which makes me wonder if it's disabled by choosing shock.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, you have to mash really fast to survive this.
Indeedy.
I developed my arcade mashing technique specifically for this game back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, the general said, quit now or you'll be eaten by my big purple friend.
Yes.
This big purple friend will show up in one of the cutscenes later.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so this is just...
This is a bonus stage.
It is a bonus session, yes. I don't think it quite makes up for some of the other things in the game, though.
It does not.
And hey, that's stage 2.
Remember, even though we're invading foreign soil, protect our flag.
Yeah, your characters will say yeah if you bump into those checkpoint flags. $445 weapons picked up, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Man, they put a huge amount of work into this game, though. I can't even be mad that it's such a coin muncher.
Yep.
I didn't get run over by that car this time, though.
Yep. Now in this sequence, the Jeeps don't count.
Yep, either way. You can miss Jeeps, which is good because they are sometimes invulnerable.
Yeah, that reminds me of a fault that the Super Scope 6 could sometimes develop.
Oh, go on.
Basically, the way it registered hits could sometimes go haywire, and it would always, the scope would always register hits, but the game wouldn't, so you could never actually destroy anything.
Well,
I think the actual...
I hope you're careful with those video game bazookas.
Yeah, I think the actual mechanics of the fault were described in a letter section of Nintendo Power.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that was when Nintendo Power actually did good journalism work for video games.
It was always Nintendo's mouthpiece, but...
Yeah, but still, they acknowledge things like that, and they probably could have avoided it.
That's also where the, Yeah, speaking of Iraq, that's also the first appearance of the Game Boy that was in that barracks hit by the Scud missile, and it was actually still worked afterwards.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nintendo's, especially portable machinery, was ridiculously durable.
Yeah, the buttons melted, the screen was broken, but all of the internals were fine, so they were able to put a new screen, and then now it's on display at Nintendo of America headquarters.
I believe my friends referred to the material as Nintendonium.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is, as you probably noticed, a repeat of a previous long sequence.
We're just heading the other way.
Yes. Get used to that because Midway likes to do that in the later parts of these games.
Mm-hmm.
The game could have been a fair deal shorter if they didn't do that. Well, I deserve that. Again. Ooh, that was close.
Yes, Shrub fans do not like it when games are this long.
Yes, it is very tough to maintain concentration for games that are more than an hour long.
Yeah, that's why some Shmup fans don't like Gradius 5.
Oh, look. Here's the scene that was censored for the SNES version.
Yeah, in the SNES version, they changed it to a truck.
Which is somehow less scary, I guess? I and many other players are disappointed because
that is not an actual boss.
You never fight that thing. Just in case you thought that they were applying some kind of restraint to this game.
They were not.
They were not. Edith Brown's Bulls rule now. Okay, fine, whatever game.
Midway rules.
Well then. Deep breath, because if you thought the game was unfair before, hoo boy.
You don't know what that's next.
Alright, let's see what this one is.
Secret airplanes.
It's not that big of a secret, though.
Well, maybe only our heroes can see the special warps.
Well, actually, I was thinking maybe it only shows up if you have a lot of keys. Which reminds me, this game provides secret codes that can put you in later stages of the game through the password thing.
Don't do this.
Well, hold on, I was just getting there. Now, in theory, because this is such a ridiculously long game, the rocket pack ran out when you were over a mine, I'm sorry.
Not the first time it happened.
The problem is that these passwords, since they're just 4-letter dealies, they do not preserve the keys that you've picked up throughout the game.
Yep.
So if you want the quote-unquote true ending, you have to go through the game start to finish.
Speaking of which, I found out something about that ending in my research, but I'll talk about it when we
get there, yes. Oh, presents from Smash TV. They give 0 points.
Yep. However, you get a 2600-inch TV.
Hooray! I hope you have a really big house. Well, you'll probably be able to afford that after winning at Smash TV. And this is where I start to lose concentration. I was able to keep this credit through most of Stage 2, which is not bad. But, hey, things happen. It's total carnage.
It's a midway game.
Well, that too. Ouch. Ouch. This is gonna inflate our mines stepped on count at the end quite a bit, isn't it?
Don't care.
Oh yeah, the game was not lying about bumping into jets for keys either.
Yep.
Help me. Over here.
Yeah, it lies about other things, but the tips given in the maps are usually on point.
Oh hey, a rocket pack.
Oh, wow, that'll be handy. Hey, a loser.
By the way, the loser stuff only appears after Stage 1.
Yep, in Stage 2 onwards it shows up, but I wonder why they wait on that whole loser thing.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Save me.
Yeah, the one weakness of the Super Flamethrower is that it doesn't navigate obstacles very well. I actually like the rocket launcher a lot because it sweeps weak enemies very well, it deals a lot of damage to large enemies, and its range isn't limited like the flamethrowers. Don't use that code.
Never use that code.
Well, I also love how the entrance is labeled Baby Milk Factory.
Yeah, like it is in the broadcasts.
Yep. So hey, story progress. The Super Flamethrower is one of the few weapons that actually should be used in short controlled bursts. Not like what Player 2 is doing here.
Player 2 thinks Player 1 should mind his own business.
Now, we've actually had some trouble finding what's coming up here.
Well, that's what practice is for.
Yeah, that whole secret path thing, it's kinda... since you can't see it, it's a little tough to walk over it, and it disappears after a little while. But yeah, you have to have a lot of keys to open this. And I'm fairly sure it grants a lot of keys once you finish it. Though I'm not sure what a lot is. Maybe 10?
It's me. I don't know how games work.
I very rarely know how games work as well. That's why I play games like Valkyrie Profile.
That's why I'm doing a glitch run of Final Fantasy IV. Well, minus the 64 door glitch.
Help me.
Yeah, although that glitch is fun to watch.
Yeah, basically, all of you who are interested in Final Fantasy should see it work because it basically turns Final Fantasy IV from a fun but buggy RPG into this game is the work of an enemy stand.
Oh, quoting RPG.net, are you?
Well, that was my post on RPG.net, so...
Really? Okay.
My hero.
Was it in reference to Final Fantasy IV?
Yes.
Okay, then.
It was in my thread of Final Fantasy IV.
Okay, fine. Anyway, this particular, if you can call it a side room, has one of the nastier sequences in it as well. Wow, there's a checkpoint in it. They really expected you to come through here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so a missing checkpoint is also a big hint that there's something over here. If you didn't happen to find this place. So yeah, it's
Jeeps.
Jeeps, but also other enemies.
Beep, beep, I'm a Jeep.
That kind of surprised me the first time I encountered this sequence. Well, hey, at least the Jeeps will sometimes run over the extra guys. No one said they were good drivers.
Well, keep in mind that they're actually letting mutants drive them sometimes.
They seem to be really enjoying it, too. Oh, hey, missiles, too.
And Jeeps can't run over missiles.
Which is kind of too bad. Oh well. Now, one of the things that gave me trouble when trying to parse how to play properly was how often to use bombs. Obviously, if you use them when you encounter anything that looks a little bit fearsome, you're gonna run out, but they're also... The game gives them out at a pretty decent pace, and they are really good at dealing with a lot of situations.
Which means I use them all the time.
Of course you do. That's why you only have 4 of them left.
Well, here comes the dudes.
Here comes the dudes.
By the way, smart bombs are duds much more often in this area than they are in the rest of the game.
Yeah. There are a couple of places in the game where those bombs are almost always duds. Such as the sequences where lots of Mr. Butanes show up.
Of course.
Game is not so nice.
Midway.
And yeah, I died there because rank has kicked in a while ago. It's a good thing the game tells you have to use a bomb on that door, especially since before you kill all those guys, the bombs don't work on it.
Uh-huh. Boing, boing, boing.
Well, thank you for finding the exit. I had somehow missed it.
No problem. Okay.
The missiles that come out of those launchers are never super durable, by the way.
Yep.
And here comes the Killing You corridor. The kind of gameplay that no one signed up for when they put coins in here.
Yep. But first, a regular fight room.
Yeah, these are the kinds of rooms that people signed up for.
Because, you know, Smash TV was actually quite successful.
Yes. I wonder why it was successful but Total Carnage wasn't. It was the advent of fighting games, wasn't it?
Probably. Yeah, basically once you get to 1992 or so, arcades basically belonged to Capcom.
Well, I think that Midway got at least a little bit of purchase with... Wow, that was unexpected. With Mortal Kombat.
Well, Mortal Kombat was mainly popular for the shock value.
Yep. It became the flag by which anti-video game people rallied. That and Doom. Yeah, so this corridor.
Actually, mostly Mortal Kombat.
So, yeah. There are some interesting things. For example, in this sequence, bombs will never grant you invulnerability. Also, the invulnerability items will last a much shorter time.
Yeah.
Also, the hitbox of those electric fences are bigger than they look.
You know, one of the reasons that Al Gore might have lost the 2000 election is because of Tipper's very visible and vocal association with music censorship.
Ooh, yeah. I thought that electric fence was going to go away in a timely manner.
It was not.
Yeah, that's another thing they did. They randomized the amount of time those things stay active. It can be literally impossible to get past the double one. Oh, well, that sure was a waste of money. Because we were definitely using real money for this game.
Yeah, video game censorship never really went anywhere except in Australia. And China, of course.
Yeah, remember the fast Mr. Butanes that captured you?
Yep.
They're not here to capture you this time. Fortunately, I don't have rank kicked in anymore, so I can drop a bomb to kill a bunch of them with the quick invincibility.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes they will surround you and you just can't avoid the flamethrowers. At least they can't fire those flamethrowers horizontally.
Yeah, I wonder why that doesn't happen. I guess Midway considered that a bridge too far, but that doesn't sound right?
It definitely doesn't sound right. Maybe it's because that would involve coding new graphics for the horizontal and vertical ones.
Yeah, actually, the regular soldiers with guns only shoot diagonally, too.
Yeah. Excuse me. Take this flame missile. Right. Also, this game does have a feature for your peace of mind when playing single player, which is if you pick up a key and you individually have enough keys, the game will play a special mysterious soundbite. In two-player mode, though, it's very unlikely that one player will get 220 keys, so that doesn't happen. I'm such a loser.
Yeah, the game says so.
Uh-oh, the game is playing dramatic music now.
And so we are encountering the second and final boss.
The second and final boss. Now, this boss is... well, okay, the bullet patterns are often not remotely fair, of course. But I probably shouldn't have rushed up to it to drop a greedy bomb there.
Yep. Don't get greedy, be a coward.
Well...
didn't help me either, but...
This is the only phase of the boss which works in a remotely fair way, in which shooting it will actually damage it and move it to its next phase faster.
Yes.
This barrage of missiles is completely time-gated.
Yep.
I tested it, the boss meter doesn't decrease any faster by shooting it, regardless of the weapon.
So it'll just decrease on its own?
Yeah. It's made to look like you're decreasing it by shooting at it, but no. This is, by the way, the toughest part of the game to survive.
Yeah, General AKHBOOB'S quotes like, "I am peace-loving citizen," that's still... I know they may have been trying to exaggerate, but that's still very Iraqi Minister of Information stuff.
Yep. And if you think that's over the top, well, just wait for the next couple phases of this boss fight.
After we get him out of his chair.
Yes. Because this game has definitely not gone completely crazy yet, despite evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, this is why I like Metal Gear Revengeance. It's fair, but it's also completely crazy.
Yeah, so once I found out how this particular part of the game worked, I was like, oh, yeah.
It's completely unfair.
It is another coin-eating sequence. So is the point where AKHBOOB just tries to run you over, and it's extremely difficult to avoid getting hit by that attack. You can't even hurt him. I don't actually know whether this is completely time-gated or whether dealing damage affects it. I do know that it takes a while for the boss meter to start moving.
Actually, it's already started.
Okay then, my bad. Yeah. I should probably look behind me on occasion,
Why?
because that's where some of the shots go.
No, I think shooting it does affect it somewhat.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you now that I have the luxury of being able to look at the boss bar during gameplay.
Yeah, that's actually the problem some of the people have with the Toho series, in
Oh?
that the bosses spew out these wonderfully arranged, beautiful patterns, but you're only ever actually looking at like 8 square inches of the screen.
Well, that's why they have the replay feature, I guess. Yeah, the boss doesn't do anything until you've scrolled everything all the way up to the top at this point.
Well, you've blown up all of its weapons, and he's out of missiles.
Yep. Wow, his animations of talking sometimes resemble Canadian people in South Park.
Or Muppets.
Or Muppets, yes.
South Park wasn't out yet.
Oh, yeah, well, okay then. Now it's just the chair, but he's not done, no sir.
So now he has become a Smash TV boss.
Yep, so he has.
But you can drop missiles on him.
Yeah, I actually get too close several times because I'm kind of...
Don't worry, I do too.
Yeah, he takes a lot more damage when hit in the back hitboxes, which are why bombs and missiles and grenade launchers are so nice here.
Okay.
Another nice thing about the missiles is that they get rid of those projectiles in the back.
Yeah, that come from the Contra tubes.
Yep. I actually hadn't thought about that. Good call there. Oh, well, now he starts screaming things in German. And it makes about as much sense as you would expect it to. My favorite is when he just shouts out Luftwaffe.
Yes. Yeah, this isn't like Wolfenstein 3D where the German makes sense.
Now, when I was first playing this game, I was extremely naive, so I didn't recognize the Hitler head. I did, however, recognize the Red Skull head.
Yes. Oh, one of my favorite photoshops is a newspaper declaring war to be decided by rock, paper, scissors, and Hitler giving the Nazi salute, and Churchill giving the peace symbol. Well, the victory symbol.
Yeah. It's sometimes tough to tell which. Who did that, anyway? Was it a something awful thing?
I don't think so. It's been around for a while.
Well, congratulations on getting that big stuff bonus. By the way, those blue orbs are really tough to deal with when you have the grenade launcher.
Yep.
Now, here's something that kind of gave me a heart attack.
Yes.
In theory, this should be fairly easy to deal with 2 players.
Yes.
However, the game was extremely unkind in its distribution this time.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, no way would I have been able to do this part alone. By the way, you can drop bombs here and they will work in blowing up copies. If you miss one, then you miss this next scene. Well, now it's revenge time.
Yep.
In the SNES version, you just put him in jail.
I see. Don't play the SNES version.
It is horrible in many ways. Nice
There-
boss explosion, by the way.
Yeah, there are many legitimate ports you can buy.
Well then, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Well, for the main gameplay sequence.
Yeah, that reminds me of something else. Apparently for the Xbox Live Arcade release of the X-Men arcade game, they didn't have the original dialogue files, so they had to re-record the audio, but they did it completely faithfully.
Perfect. I can play Pong.
Yeah.
Well then. I sure hope so. If you don't bring enough keys, the game will give you a lot of text about how you should have gotten enough keys.
Yeah, so 237 and you need 220.
As I said, not much room for error.
So we are going to grab all of the treasures here. It's actually not that hard to grab all of them.
If you are in two-player mode. If you are in one-player mode, you are in trouble here. Now, the Midway made this ridiculously difficult to sweep up for reasons that I guess you'll explain.
I'll explain when we get to the end.
Okay, fair enough. So, there's loot hidden behind everything, much like the keys, but hey, if you got enough keys, you're used to this sort of thing.
If you have enough wherewithal to get all of the keys you need, you can probably get everything here.
Yep. Of course, you need someone who is willing to make the heroic sacrifice of standing back while someone else gets all the loot. And unlike the presents in the jet sequences, these actually do give points.
Yep.
Though it isn't the huge point boosts that are in, say, the end of Strike Force.
Well, Strike Force plays by its own rules.
And then it sometimes breaks those.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cameos of the Smash TV bosses, though.
Mutoid Man, the Serpent. I think only the face doesn't show up.
Yeah, I didn't notice Scarface over here.
But, well, that's because we already fought Scarface.
And that's all of it. This is Smash TV music, by the way.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Go ahead.
This is the good ending screen. If you didn't collect all of the treasures, the Smash TV women wouldn't be here. However, what they never put in was the good ending text.
Actually, I think they kind of merged the two endings, because I've seen this victory screen when someone didn't pick it up.
Okay. So this is the good ending screen, but the bad ending text. They never put in the good ending text.
Yep, the quote-unquote perfect ending, which the game will mention in short order, does not actually exist.
Yeah, according to one of the programmers, it was like, well, I guess we just forgot.
Maybe they just didn't expect people to do it, much like a similar problem in Smash TV.
No, they just forgot to put it in.
Welp. After all that work, they kind of went short in this little thing.
Yeah, they forgot.
Welp. And that is actually the end, I guess.
Okay, there's Mark Turmel, the guy who... And there's, yep, Boone and Cybot were on this game, too.
Yep.
Noob and Cybot. Yep.
So, wow. Let's talk about our experience when this was in arcades. This was one of those double cabinets that has an extra screen on top for people to observe.
Yeah.
And I did a lot more observing than I did playing.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, our gaming budget was limited, and second, we had some idea of what it would take to complete this game.
So I mainly played and beat Soul Edge.
Okay. And, well, now I'm just gonna put our initials in here. Thank you very much for watching this whole thing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna try to play something shorter next time.
Well, and I hope you enjoyed doing commentary here.
I did.
Well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.